Whoa, what's up, noisemakers? It's your boy Run to Smoke, and we're here with a brand new episode of CigarNoise TV. Woo!
Thank you, Sean, and welcome back to CigarNoise Weekly. I'm Dave, your weekly host, and it has been a long-ass time since we produced this show. So for old time's sake, fire up your favorite cigar, pour yourself a glass of liquid courage. It's time to make some noise. So a lot's changed since we saw you last, but apparently one thing has not. IPCPR, now PCA's mismanagement. In the same amount of time that I got fat and apparently forgot where the barbershop was, PCA is just as consistent as ever. What's changed recently, though, is their 2020 trade show due to the coronavirus pandemic. They announced last week that they won't be hosting the show this year in Vegas, or anywhere for that matter, and we really can't tell if retailers or manufacturers are happy, sad, or indifferent at this point. Charlie from Half Wheel wrote quite a bit about it, saying that, quote, 2020 was already a disaster, and the trade show is not a good product, end quote. We also know that at least one brand will be conducting their trade show virtually, and I would expect others to follow suit. And to read more on the subject, look for links below in the description. Next up, Rich gives us a history on cigar bans.
Hey everybody, let's talk about cigar bans. There's a couple of different theories about the origins of cigar bans. Some of them make sense, some of them less so. So I want to take a look at three of the leading theories about where cigar bans came from and give my input about which is probably true. Alright, so the first one is that back in the day, gentlemen had white gloves that they smoked with, and they didn't want their white gloves to get all messed up when they smoke cigars. So I did a quick experiment. I've done this before. Alright, I've been smoking this cigar. Check them gloves out. They are white. There is no stain. Alright, so I've never smoked a cigar that actually stained any gloves. The second thing that's interesting about this theory is that for it to be true, you would have to assume that somebody would hold the cigar exactly on the band, and they'd never move it anywhere else because they'd still stain their white gloves. So that one doesn't make any sense at all to me. The second theory is that Catherine the Great back in the day wanted pretty silk bands around her cigars. Okay, so she asked for her specific cigars to have bands around them, right? This also doesn't make sense to me, because if the cigars came with bands, she wouldn't have to ask for additional bands. So that doesn't pass the sniff test to me. The one that does pass the sniff test and actually has some historical authenticity to it, it can be verified pretty well, is that a gentleman in Cuba by the name of Gustav Bach was making cigars. He was an immigrant from Europe to Cuba, and he realized that a lot of people were counterfeiting Cuban cigars. That sounds familiar. But what was happening is that back in the day, they didn't have any bands on them, right? So you could just put anything in a box and say, this is a Cuban cigar. They sold way more Cuban cigars than the Cubans produced. That's a problem. So the way that this worked is he said, all right, I got to make sure that these are authentic Cuban cigars, and he put a ring of paper around with his signature on each one. He had those printed up. And in the 1830s, Gustav Bach became the first person to use cigar bands. Okay? These took off like lightning. By the 1850s, every single Cuban company was using the cigar band. And from there, we got these works of art that every one of us loves and cherishes today. Shortly after that, by around the 1900s, it was so cool to be making art out of cigar bands and covering things with cigar bands that there were clubs and societies set up to trade cigar bands around so that you could cover cool things with cigar bands, right? Wouldn't that be kind of cool today? You just got to smoke your own. So anyway, if somebody ever tells you about the gentlemen with their white gloves, it's pretty much BS. Try this yourself. So you can tell them Gustav Bach got you your cigar bands.
Thank you, Rich. Be sure to check him out at MooCowRich on Instagram. And next, Dom goes from Gomer Pyle to leading the charge with the help of a few cigars.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Enemy soldier incoming.
Alright, where we dropping? So when you pull a chute? How do you pull a chute? How do you pull your parachute?
All right. Let's get these fools.
No.
Thanks, Dom. You can check him out on @cigar_analogies on Instagram, and maybe even find him on Warzone on his dreams. And last but not least, Ted has your cigar of the week.
Hey there, it's Ted with your CigarNoise Weekly, Cigar of the Week. We're going to kind of do a little bit of a unboxing, but I want to prepare you because even though it's 2020, 2020 has been such a mess so far that we're going to slip back into 2019. And so Cigar of the Week is the Headley Grange Chamuco limited edition 2019, and it's kind of a fake unboxing because, well, quite frankly, I've already smoked a couple boxes of these. This is a brand new box, however, box of 12, so I'll show you a little bit about what you're going to see inside. You're going to see 12 nicely laid out cigars, and as you'll see here in a minute, 3 bands on this particular cigar, which seems like far too many to me. It's just one more thing to do, which, whatever. Nice dark cigar, Mexican San Andreas wrapper. And as you can see the foot, maybe there, it's kind of semi-closed. It's like they tried to close it and then just got tired of trying and just kind of left some stuff hanging off the end. But anyway, I've smoked a couple boxes of these. Doesn't matter one bit. Fantastic cigar. Now listen, chamuco means devil. Or at least that's what I've heard it means. And this cigar is not the devil. However, this cigar is in your face. What I mean by that is, remember when you're in Catholic school, that nun that was always getting up in your business? This cigar is like that. It's in your face. And what you're going to find when you smoke this cigar, and I'm going to get ready to smoke this one, but what you're going to find as you smoke this cigar is a lot of dark earth flavors. You're going to find some chocolate, and you're going to find some pepper. And in my opinion, those are the 3 main flavors of this profile. If you're not a big fan of dark profiles with lots of pepper, probably not for you. Also, probably not the cigar I'd recommend as your first cigar of the day. That being said, underneath that beautiful Mexican San Andreas wrapper, you're going to find Nicaraguan binder and filler. Ironically, hand rolled in the Dominican Republic. Right out of the gate, just a lot of pepper. Dark earth, leather. And that cocoa I was telling you about. Chocolate cocoa. I think you can't go wrong with a cigar. Again, we're in 2020, so maybe some might think this is irrelevant because this is a limited edition 2019 cigar. But quite frankly, comparing the 2 years, 2019 has 2020 beat hands down, and 2020 better shag some ass or they're never going to catch up. It's never going to catch up to 2019. Chamuco, Crown Heads, Headley Grange, limited edition 2019. If you get a chance to pick one up, I think you should. We'll see you next week. Maybe I'll roll all the way back to 2018 or 17 if I have to find a cigar, because 2020 can't seem to get its act together. See you later.
Thanks, Ted, and be sure to check him out @TedRunsAgain on Instagram. As we close our social media Cigar Noise hashtags of the week, I'd like to say thank you very much to all of our special guests, everyone that makes this show happen each week, and Tom Thurrow for sharing his musical talent with us.